Hezbollah has launched extensive rocket attacks against Israel, escalating the ongoing conflict. On November 24, over 340 rockets were fired into central and northern Israel, including areas near Tel Aviv and Haifa. These strikes resulted in at least 11 injuries and significant property damage. This marks one of the largest single-day attacks by Hezbollah since the conflict intensified in September 2024. The rockets were launched from Lebanon, targeting central and northern Israel, including Tel Aviv and Haifa. Many of these rockets were intercepted by air defense systems, but several breached defenses, causing at least 11 injuries among civilians. Property damage, including residential buildings and infrastructure in Petah Tikva and the Galilee. Citizens in affected areas endured a day of repeated air raid sirens and sought shelter for hours. Schools, businesses, and public transportation in the targeted zones were disrupted. Emergency services were stretched thin responding to injuries, evacuations, and debris removal. The group labeled the attack as Beirut equals Tel Aviv, framing it as retaliation for recent Israeli strikes in Lebanon. Some projectiles were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome and David's Sling defense systems, limiting the scope of destruction. The depth of the attacks illustrate Hezbollah's operational capacity. We are seeing projectiles making direct hits at Israeli residential buildings as the Iron Dome failed to intercept nearly 200 projectiles.
50 afternoon, sirens heard in the center of Israel, and after the sirens we heard a big boom and explosions around the Petah Tikva city. This is one of the main cities in the center of Israel. Paramedics and EMTs of Madha that reached to the scene found 6 people that needed treatment and evacuation to hospital. One of them was with injuries and difficult breathing because of the fire, and another 5 with minor injuries.
Prior to the Hezbollah attack on November 24, on November 23, 2024, Israel targeted an apartment building in Beirut's Basta district. This strike reportedly killed 29 people and injured at least 67. It was one of a series of escalations in central Beirut over the preceding days, as part of ongoing military actions against Hezbollah. Additionally, the Israeli military targeted multiple Hezbollah command centers in the southern suburbs of Beirut around the same time.
This strike happened, then a second strike, we did not understand what happened, there were just fragments and people running and screaming.
This is the little one, and nice and also caught her. This is my daughter, she is in the American University Hospital.
In Lebanon, the situation mirrored the growing distress, as people were displaced and casualties mounted in the aftermath of the attacks. Diplomatic efforts to negotiate a ceasefire were being pursued amid widespread civilian suffering on both sides.
On November 24, 2024, Josep Borrell, the European Union's foreign policy chief, visited Beirut amid the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah.
Is now the European Union,
Borrell's trip came as part of efforts to mediate a potential ceasefire between the warring parties. During his visit, Borrell met with Lebanese officials. The EU's commitment to supporting Lebanon, both diplomatically and financially, was evident, with Borrell signaling that the EU was ready to provide €200 million to bolster the Lebanese military's presence in the south.
Is coming, but it's not coming. Someone is not interested in it. And everybody should understand that the ceasefire is absolutely needed, because the Lebanon capacity to continue taking care of their people, in spite of great efforts of these medical doctors, nurses, and hospital organization, has a limit. If every night there is a new bombing, every night there are more people being killed or being wounded, at the end you will reach a limit in your capacity. So I don't know which is the obstacle, but I don't think anything that could justify a single day more of war.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has expressed conditional agreement to a ceasefire with Hezbollah, which is currently under discussion. This ceasefire, brokered with the involvement of the United States, outlines a 60-day cessation of hostilities. Key terms include Hezbollah withdrawing north of the Lebanon River.
It's important what will happen after. That Hezbollah will not be allowed to come back to the fence, and we will do whatever
Lebanese army taking control of southern Lebanon, and the establishment of a U.S.-led supervisory committee to monitor adherence to the agreement. However, Netanyahu emphasized that Israel reserves the right to act against any violations or immediate threats to its security. Some Israeli officials and citizens have voiced concerns, considering the truce a strategic mistake. Notably, the deal excludes the release of Hezbollah captives held by Israel and limits France's role in the oversight due to recent tensions between Israel and France. Hezbollah and its allies reportedly signal readiness to comply, following approval from Iran's supreme leader. If finalized, this agreement aims to stabilize the region, though skepticism remains about its enforcement and durability.